Lead Time is a weekly dose of leadership insights and interviews from Tim Allman and Jake Bessling. Lead Time is for any leader living in a busy world looking to be inspired, equipped, and empowered to lead others to their fullest potential. This is Lead Time.
Welcome to Lead Time, Tim and Jake here, and it is a beautiful day to be alive. I hope you're breathing deeply from the Holy Spirit, ready to encounter a wonderful reality, which is this whirlwind of a leader. His name is KJ Struz. Struz is in the house. This is the third time, the trifecta. I think it's the only, I don't know what episode we're on right now, 80, 90, I don't know, something like that. 3 times KJ's been on with us, and here is why. I was just telling you. We need more young, vibrant, dreamful leaders. We want to platform as much as we can the next generation of leaders. And you're not the next gen, you're this gen right now. And Jesus is doing wonderful things through you. And we cannot wait to learn from you today here at Lead Time.
Amen. Yeah, we love your personality, your smile, your gifting. You just ooze joy. And to talk about health and wellness, it's a topic in the church that a lot of churches are like, we're not going to touch that. But think about Jesus' life. Right. The man walked like 11, 12, 20 miles a day, depending. He'd always be with his disciples. And the guy must be fit, eating lean, not overeating, and eating just enough to get full and substance from the Father, and then to go and multiply his ministry to what we are today, the Jesus followers throughout all the continents. We must talk about health and wellness. And there's too many people that are struggling out there. You're not sure, like, where do I go with this? I'm not educated on these topics. I'm insecure about it. KJ is going to help us out today with that. Go back to episode 19 and 35, where he talked about holistic health and also some other great content, 19 and 35.
Yeah, our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit, it's right there in Paul.
We are not Gnostics, which just mean it's about up and out there. God cares about tangible things. He got dirty when he created man out of the dust, so we should care for our bodies 100%.
Yeah, and when we talk about the joy of Jesus, a lot of people, I just don't have joy, because it actually is connected to maybe what you're putting in your mouth, what you're eating, what you're drinking, how your heart's functioning, if you're exercising or not. And so during COVID-19, let's say it's, when we're filming this, at least it is June 18th. This started around March 1st. Man, people, their rhythms are probably a little whack, or they're actually enhanced. So what are you seeing? What are you hearing about, pre-COVID health, post-COVID health? Has this impacted us more beneficially, that we had more time maybe to do things, or not?
Yeah, with this. So this is, of course, my opinion, but I believe there's a bigger spread with this.
Okay.
So you're going to have more people going towards taking health back in their own hands, doing their own research. Of course, that's the other part that's hard, because you don't want to be researching on Dr. Google and reading some wrong information, but so more people are just taking back in their own hands. And the other half, I believe, are almost kind of taking an aspect of fear. And it's not their fault, it's just what we're hearing. It's just everything that's going on. So I think that gap is getting bigger, but I do believe that those that are going towards the end of taking back in their own hands are getting stronger in that aspect.
I agree. Me and my wife just started a new rhythm, third weekend of 6 a.m., walking or running for 30 minutes every morning. And today, in this whole neighborhood of ours, we saw 5 couples walking and running together, and they all were on our street. So I was like, man, our street is rocking. This whole neighborhood, you guys got to get with it. But it was like, I've never seen that in my life at that kind of hour of the day,
especially
where
with
people
summer.
have time, and then they were smiling, and they're talking, and it seemed like it's strengthening marriages too.
Yeah.
So today, you are going to help us take the right next steps. Now, motivation is only motivation if it leads to action. We're not here to just inspire you. We're here to inspire you to actually do something. So over the next 25 minutes or so, you get a pen out. You need to say, what is my 1, maybe 2 things that I'm going to take from this conversation that's going to transform me and help me transform others. So today, our topic is the 5 myths of health and wellness. You are going to bring it, and
can't wait.
I want to hear the first one, man. Lean in, listener.
Hercules. KJ.
Yes,
as we lean
first
in.
myth.
First myth is a calorie is a calorie.
Calorie is a calorie.
And so
a calorie is a calorie,
isn't it?
It kind of is, but it kind of isn't at the same time. But I think about this. We go back to when God created the earth. Did he go, I'm going to create this with 30 calories?
Calories.
Am I going to create this with 60 calories?
Ooh.
Oh, we're going to up this a little to 250 over here, or Big Mac's at 2,000.
A Texan steer, 10,000 calories.
Right?
Yeah.
He's not like adding those together, but of course we've made it work for us. So then how do you keep adapting with that? But now you have to look at the nutrition that's coming with that calorie. So is a Pepsi equal to an apple?
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
I know that.
Correct. But sometimes you can look at the calories and be like, well, I can get 150
Right.
calories from a soda, but
All
also
calories
the
are
apple.
not equal.
They're not equal. So what's the difference? Okay, so let's look at what's in a Pepsi. All right, well, a lot of artificial stuff, a lot of sugar, and that, of course, equates to calories. That's pretty much all that's in a Pepsi, just a lot of things that are good for your taste buds. Be good for you long term.
How do you, give me a new vernacular. Bad calories?
Empty.
Empty. Empty's a good term because now the fact is your body's going to want more from that. So when God created the earth, he created things like apples, celery, potatoes, things like that has fiber, has nutrition, it has water content. So now there's this holistic effect that's going back to what we look at holistic health. So it's just going back to almost what God did. Like it's almost the easiest way to say it is, so instead of looking at how many calories am I having throughout the day, it's what nutrition am I getting from those calories? What color are my foods? Are they a lot of white? Are they a lot of potatoes, burgers? Is it a lot of brown meats? Or is it, ooh, I got some purple cabbage today. Ooh, I got some greens, dark leafy greens. We talked about microgreens the other day. So what am I getting from that? Because now that nutrition, you're feeling your cells as opposed to just, I have energy throughout the day. There's your M&Ms, macros and your micros, proteins, carbs, fats. Then you've also got vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K. So,
Dude.
Exactly.
So legit. So calorie counting is helpful? Not? What?
I say it's not. I don't focus on, I don't think I've ever counted calories.
So I got this app, I'm walking, right? And I burn that many calories, or I rode
Correct.
my bike, I burn that many calories. Useless? What?
That's great when you're looking on proteins, carbs, and fats. So that is totally helpful on that scale. When you're looking at weight loss, it can be beneficial. But when it comes to eating, in my opinion, it's more beneficial to look at what am I getting from that. Sure. If you're looking at counting something, I would count how much fiber you're getting. There's a lot of research on fiber, and I look at how much fat you're getting, beneficial fat, not trans fat, saturated fat. How much am I getting from olive oil, avocados, walnuts, beneficial things. So it's a totally different thing to look at. And I don't even count, like fat is 9 grams or 9 calories per gram instead of the 4 coming from proteins and carbs. Now take notes right there, right? That's a little tip. Alcohol is 7 if you want to know. But you're looking at, I don't even count those calories, those 9. You just look at, I'm getting beneficial food, I'm eating whole foods that God gave me on this planet.
When kind of in my mind as a child, learning probably high school, it's like, oh, it's around 2,000 calories needed for my body
average
type per day.
that's what you see on labels, right? 2,000. This
and
is
it's
the average.
all according to that label. You're kind of throwing that to the side, wanting to count better, not even count, but say I'm eating the right things.
Correct.
Can you overeat vegetables and fruit?
No.
Because you're kind of putting this.
I love that.
So you could eat 4,000 calories of that. 3,000.
That's like really hard, by the way,
So
right? I mean,
right.
I'm actually reading a book called How Not to Diet. And he actually wrote How Not to Die and a bunch of other books, and I'm going to go through all of his because he's
is
super
this?
interesting. Dr. Greger, I believe his name is.
Sweet.
These books are
First book recommend.
Audible book. It's like 24 hours. Like these are dense books.
Wow, that is intense.
And then like the books are like 700 pages, but he's going to the best research for, oh man, I don't remember the numbers. But basically, if you want to eat 4,000 calories of fruits and vegetables, you basically have to not stop eating throughout the day. Like,
So you can't.
No way.
because of the amount of fiber. That fiber is going to fill you up.
But you
and
could
that's-
probably get to 2,000,
Oh, easily.
and that'd
That's
be the
also
right
very
food
challenging.
to eat. Yeah.
That's also very challenging. You'd have the energy from the micronutrition, just like we talked about before. You can go to the doctor and they say, oh, you're deficient in protein. I've never heard that. They say you're deficient in vitamin K, deficient in vitamin D. These are the things that we need to be focusing on at the same time. That's why paleo kind of goes that route a little bit. Say, let's focus on some micronutrition, what we're missing. That was in the 90s when that kind of started a trend of proteins, carbs, and fats. And we're really is our main focus.
balancing all of that. So
Correct.
focusing a little bit more on our macros.
Yeah.
I did a metabolic reset again with my wife. We've done it the last 2 years in June, and we go no oils for the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
And just eat, so it's limited caffeine, no alcohol, and it's a piece of bread, rye bread, It's vegetables and the right types of vegetables based on some blood work. So a lot of vegetables, a little bit of protein. So, and I'm putting also this kind of on a scale, right? So I can teach my body like how much I need. Exactly. 5-hour intervals between eating, and then fruit too. So fruit, protein, good amount of veggies, and then a little bit of caffeine. If you want a coffee, that's cool. And then after 2 weeks, so this happened for me like 3 days ago now, you get to add back in oils. And so my oils are ghee, flaxseed oil, put that over salads, and then coconut oil. So all that to say, I got around to coconut oil. And I've gotten numerous people, 3 people, okay, who said, I've seen some bad things about coconut oil. And so I'd love for you to say something about coconut oil.
Coconut oil. So I've heard 3 different things, and it's gone through phases, just like a handful of things, just like soy has gone through phases. Oh, soy was bad. No, it's okay for you. It's bad. All right, in moderation, it's all right. And same thing with coconut oil. It's going to keep cycling because we're going to find new research. My opinion is everything in moderation, including moderation. Exactly. So it's like, whatever. Is the one Pepsi going to kill you? Absolutely not. But is that trend going to create some more habits that may not be beneficial? Absolutely, that's possible. Same with coconut oil. As long as you're not drinking an entire bottle of coconut oil, I don't believe there's a problem with it. Exactly.
Even the veggies.
Mix some veggies, or even your coffee. I've had some people do, so it's actually beneficial there too.
That's cool. So yeah, the first myth was that all calories are not equal, and so that's a myth, right? The second myth is if you want, and that was the truth then, if you want to lose weight, go on a diet or a cleanse. So we hear that, right? If you want to lose weight, go on a diet or a cleanse. Maybe you talk about keto as well. I mean, that's out there. So.
Yeah, so keto, paleo, paleo's still kind of hanging around. That hasn't gone away, but keto's definitely still the big one right now. And I know, like Tim Tebow's on it as well. He's following more of a ketogenic diet. But I just believe that's turning your body into a different type of fat. And so, that's kind of a little tip of the next myth. But in general, if you want to lose weight and you want to keep it off, let's find a way to incorporate to your lifestyle. So what I like to talk about is principles. So in keto, you have principles, right? High fat, moderate protein, low carbs. And paleo, you have things that were been around for thousands of years. Whole grains, fruits and vegetables, things like that. So you can take principles and apply them to your life. So if you don't like, let's say spinach, okay? That's okay, you're not Popeye, that's all right. But then you can find other sources of iron to make up that, or other ways to incorporate the other potassium or folate that's in there. You don't have to eat every fruit and vegetable on the planet.
There are a lot, too.
There's a lot. So you can easily mix and match. And that's the cool part is, at least, but I don't think, even I haven't done this, is gone through every single fruit and vegetable, be like, low, medium, or high. How much do I like it? And then eat more of those ones I do like. And find ways to incorporate and balance the other ones.
I'm hearing a fruit and vegetable audit of your life.
Correct. So, I mean, there's the plant-based diet right now that's becoming even bigger right now because there's a lot more research. T. Colin Campbell wrote 2 books, Whole, and he also wrote another one called The China Study, and that actually has the largest amount of research when it comes to nutrition. And the research he's done on
China eat a lot of veggies? Is that
he did a lot of research over there, yeah, on plant-based nutrition, and we're talking plant-based protein specifically, and just the research from, cases of I want to call them heart points in a way, so like heart attacks, strokes, anything related to the heart, diminished completely in his research when it came to a plant-based diet compared to those eating cheese, processed meats, things like that. So I'm not a big fan of diets or cleanses, and the reason why is because when you're done with it, you're typically going back to what you're used to. And so if you can apply small habits, small rituals every single day. So if your goal is to lose 15 pounds, which is probably a lot of us, because we're like, okay, well, especially with the COVID-15, isn't that what you want to call it, right? And so we're looking at how can we incorporate small things to create lifelong change. And I believe health is a lifestyle as opposed to a 2-month cleanse, or as opposed to a 3-month keto cycle that it's going to fall off when it gets hard.
Yeah, and one of your values too with health and wellness is education. I mean, you're educating us now, and so a lot of the times those diets, you see a big impact, but you're not educated on how to have those different disciplines. Well, just give us a few, 2 or 3 kind of tips, ways to live better without taking this full diet on. But what can we do? You've said a few things, but other new things for us? Like, how could I lose a little weight, but have it established through new habits?
Okay. So one I love, I think I talked about it last time, is intermittent fasting.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be set to a schedule. I'm not a big fan of 16-8. I'm not a big fan of 20-4. I'm a big fan of listening to your body. So these are hours of fasting window, and there's an eating window. I believe you should listen to your body. So some days I only fast for 10 hours. Some days I can fast for up to 18 to 20. So it just depends on what I'm doing and how active I am.
So let's pause there, because I'm doing that too. I mean,
Yep.
I know you've done it, and just like my body has gotten attuned to around 7:30 to 8 at night,
Yep.
kind of stop eating. And then at 11 o'clock, I have my Green Vibrant shake ready to go. But then I do eat like an hour later. But it's like at 8, 9, 10, drinking water and coffee throughout. This is decaf, by the way. But that's working for me. Why am I doing that? Like, what is that doing to my body that's actually helpful?
Giving it a break.
Yeah.
So
Normalize that language, right? Giving your gut a break.
Giving your gut a break and giving your entire body a break. So when you're consuming anything with a calorie, whether it be protein.
With a calorie.
Exactly. With what we call calories, is your body is going to have a response of saying, I need to break this down. I need to digest it. That's priority number one, and everything else pretty much slows down. Doesn't shut down, but it slows down. So your growth of your cells slow down. Your repair of your cells slow down. A process called apoptosis, which is a natural cell death. Ones that you want to die and dying off. So all this is going to slow down. So this is almost like a reset button, giving your body a break.
Every day.
Taking the weight off every single day. And there's also the other aspect of some people just fast for 2, 3, 4 days in a month, and they're good. Because you're still giving your body a break at once. It's like the hard aspect. Yeah, you can work it, but you can't overwork it. Otherwise, it's gonna tap out a little bit sooner than you hope.
You make me think of our cars, right?
Yeah.
If you drove it 24 hours a day, all the time, it's gonna have a wear and tear versus, my truck sits for 12 hours just idle at night.
So one of the biggest windows you maybe want, when is my biggest window?
Right.
Well, finish eating at 6 or so.
Yeah.
And maybe eat your breakfast then at 7. I'm not a huge math guy, but I think that's a fair
Correct.
length of time, right?
Exactly. And so the other part with that is
13 hours.
Yeah, that's solid, because typically at around 12 hours, your body runs out of what they call glycogen stores, so stored glucose. So now you're tapping into fat. Even that extra hour a day, whether it's 25, 30 calories, you keep adding that up consistently throughout a year, you might lose a few pounds without even noticing a single thing. And that's the cool part. It's very easy to implement, but people are like, oh, wow, I can't eat for 16 hours. And that's because, same thing with keto. Oh, I have to eat this, this, and this. Says who? Like, make it adaptable to your lifestyle, because
freedom.
Jake's different than me, Tim's different than me, Adam's different than me.
What you're gonna do that day,
Correct.
working out at what time,
And then you're
eating
gonna be
more
different
energy.
tomorrow. That's the crazy part.
Marlon, you're different than us.
Exactly. So we're all different, and technically we're growing and we're adapting every single day. That's the hard part. But that's also, I believe, the challenge, and I think that's the fun part too.
So we just broke that myth. If you wanna lose weight, go on a diet or a cleanse. No, eat healthier and have different rhythms that work for you. Yeah, establish new habits. The third one, the next myth is what?
The next myth is fat makes you fat. We kind of touched on it, like I said, with
Fat
coconut.
makes you fat.
So
Fat makes you pH, AT,
Is that a
maybe.
fat?
That's an old school word,
Right.
But not fat makes you fat.
not fat.
Spell
And
it, why?
this goes back into what else you're doing. Like, not one thing is gonna make you sick, not one thing is gonna make you well. So like I talked about coconut oil, you're eating 1 tablespoon or even 1 teaspoon of coconut oil is not gonna make you fat. It's not staying active consistently as well. It's eating over in excess what you need of your proteins, carbs, and fats, because your body's gonna store that for fuel. That's the way God designed us. When we had to go hunt for our food more so than and pick our own apples instead of having an apple put on your plate, like, cool, that was easy, I paid $2. Like, that was so simple. And so, wow, it's simple days, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, just the thought of like we go to the gym and we work out, and before there weren't gyms because you worked out as you walked and as you
Gathering, man.
worked and gathering. Yeah.
Consistent moderation exercise as opposed to condensed. And I believe that's actually a good way to go too, and if someone doesn't want to go to the gym, that's totally fine. But like, you almost go back to that old model of like, let me go do 15 push-ups in between commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just staying consistently active. Like, I know my Apple Watch, that's one of the 3 rings.
Move.
It'll tell you I think once an hour, if you're sitting, stand up. like move, get that body moving, because that consistency of stagnation isn't beneficial.
You got to get up right now.
I got to get up right now.
Yeah.
All right.
So here's the reality too. We're going to be going deep into a book called Limitless. Limitless is a book by Jim Quick. That
I actually just read it.
Did you? Do you like it?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Pretty epic, right? Brain science stuff. But one of the and it feels good to stand.
It does.
One of the things we learned is 25 minutes on and then at least 5 minutes off.
Yep.
Do you remember that? Pomodoro effect or something like that?
Pomodoro principle. Yeah.
Did I get that? Okay, cool.
Pomodoro.
So 25 minutes on. If you've been doing the same things for 25 minutes or more, it could be at work and you've not switched it up, moved, whatever. You're not getting maximum effect. And switching it up could be turning it off right now and going and saying, I'm going to apply X principle to my life. 25 on. For speaking, to hear something, we're trying to keep our podcast around the 25-minute mark now because we want people to then move toward action. Any response to that?
Small, simple steps. And so we're going to the myth of fat makes you fat. So we're going back to that habit concept of small, simple steps. So have a little bit of beneficial fat. Don't go towards the saturated, the trans fats, things like that, because of course those are going to have an easier time of transferring to fat. But if you're looking at things in walnuts, avocados, they've actually found that being burned as fuel much easier as opposed to, so there's calories, not a calorie, not all calories are calories. But it's the fat aspect of not all fats are the same either, not created equal. So,
good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Stand sit. It's up to you.
That's it. I'll keep moving.
I love it. All right, number 4. The myth here, numero 4, is supplements make you healthy.
Interesting.
Everyone likes supplements, or you hear about them like, oh, all these supplements. So supplements make you healthy.
And I'm the supplement guy too, so this is interesting. I was sitting here, I was actually researching a lot on the internet and trying to see what the common myths are so I could talk about common myths. But at the same time...
You're just too tall. We need to get you in the camera.
Oh, hey, I'm down here.
It's okay.
It almost inhibits us. So just like taking something, we don't want to create as much action because you're taking that. So because I'm taking a multivitamin, I don't have to eat my fruits and vegetables now. So it almost inhibits us. So I'd rather have someone go eat more fruits and vegetables.
The real thing.
Exactly, which crazy statistic is an apple is 263 times more absorbable than ascorbic acid, which is the vitamin C in pills, emergency, things like that, which is 98% of the market. So why wouldn't you just eat the apple instead? Because that also has another 499 beneficial phytochemicals that God's put on the planet that have a synergistic effect as opposed to just one component.
It's also probably cheaper.
It's a lot cheaper, and you can get a lot more out of it. So, but it's going back to the aspect of less than 24% of people actually eat their minimum 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, which is only 5 cups. So technically, a good sized salad would put you there, which is kind of scary because to me, that's somewhat simple, but that's also kind of how I've been raised and that's how I've implemented myself. But not everybody's had that, I guess, blessing you want to call it. So supplements make you healthy. So how can we find ways to make ourselves healthy and then add an extra supplement to, of course, boost it? So if I'm missing some gaps of iron and supplementing whole food, so there's whole food multivitamins, go that route as opposed to man-made synthetic minerals that are super duper cheap that cost you $8.50 and it'll last you 3.5 months. So like you also pay for what you get that same time. So first, let's go to what God gave us, fruits and vegetables. Yes. Secondly, if you do supplement, go to whole food, plant-based supplementation. That way you do get the absorbability from God as opposed to man-made synthetics.
So drop 1 or 2 of those supplements.
Correct.
Specific. But you. I'm asking you to tell us.
Tell us.
If we're deficient,
we
what are
always have to go buy something after this show.
We do. So it just is what it is. Tell us what to buy next.
What to buy next? Oh, man. So my one big supplement now, last time it was Green Vibrance, and I still love Green Vibrance and Max Vibrance. That's seriously the best stuff. But the other thing is when we're eating our foods, we're not breaking it down as well as we should. So enzymes. I mentioned this to you last time. I actually had an enzyme
Should I chew more?
Yes and no. So your body has a natural bank, if you want to think of it, of these enzymes. Protein ones, carbohydrate ones, and fat ones. So break down each type. Then you also have simple sugars and things like lactose, which breaks down, or lactase, which breaks down.
There are enzymes that are breaking down all those
milk
different
sugar
things?
So if you think about when we're born, right, and you're breastfed, there's an enzyme or there's a sugar in there called lactose, right? And now we're running into people that are lactose intolerant when they're 20, 30, 40, 50 in those latter ages. But yet we could break that down when we're babies. I just believe we ran out of those enzymes.
Are you saying those people
ran out
weren't
of the enzymes.
breastfed or something?
No, they just ran out of those enzymes.
ran out of the
They're
enzymes.
tapping them out.
Jake,
So they're having not excess dairy, but they're having more dairy than they probably could. So genetically, we do have a certain amount in the bank. So God put a certain amount of carbohydrate breaking down enzymes in you and protein ones. And so the more you use them, the less you have. So some people have inflammation of the joints. Sometimes that can be root caused as not breaking down your proteins, and that protein stays in your system and turns into uric acid, and your body wants to attack that uric acid. We hear arthritis and gout.
And the way against that is to raise your enzyme, perhaps.
And so there's
How
some
do we get
enzymes
that?
with meals.
We take a pill for enzymes?
Take an enzyme with your meal, so that's gonna do two things.
That's what you took the other day when we were at lunch.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you taking?
Taking off the body, like I talked about before, giving your body a break, because your body's only has enough certain amount of these. And the other aspect is getting more from your foods. So when I talk about, instead of supplementing so much, going back to food, which I'm a big fan of supplements, so it's not saying that, but now let's get more from our foods because our body can break it down. Exactly, your body doesn't use proteins, it uses the smaller version of amino acids. Big old chain that is now at a weight of a protein of 20 grams of protein or 25 grams of protein. So if you can break that down, smaller portions of it, your body can actually use that much easier.
What's your enzyme?
So my enzyme is the plant-based enzyme, and it's pretty much I call it can break down anything from a Thanksgiving meal. So your proteins, carbs, fats, your simple sugars, your complex sugars, your fibers.
In a pill. Hey,
in a pill.
Hey, you got any of that stuff right here?
Yeah, come on, man. This is good stuff. Yeah,
he does.
You want to bet?
Yeah, he does. Let's
How
see
much
this.
for that actually right now?
I never leave my house without it. Boom.
I never leave it.
It looks like
Because
a
if I go
mint,
out.
a mince in there
Yeah.
or something. Let's see those things. Let's see that action. Enzyme.
So this little tiny thing. So this is gonna do, if you take this with your meal, at the point you start eating up to 15 minutes after,
Red or blue.
you're gonna start absorbing it a little bit better.
Okay.
Say the last part again. I was so enamored by the capsule.
So if you take an enzyme with your meals, you're gonna break down your meal better.
Right.
And therefore, what we kind of want is sometimes less gas, less bloating.
No one wants that.
No, because
Take the pill.
Take the pill.
Wow.
Because you're breaking down your foods more. Those are signals that your body isn't breaking down.
Take
as
it
well.
before or after? That's what I missed. When do I take it?
Before up to 15 minutes after, so in that eating window pretty much. So I typically take it before if I really forget, if I get...
We were asking for 2 tips, 2 supplements. We're going to go with this one.
Just go with
Boom.
one.
Done.
Keep it simple.
I love that.
All right, sweet. So the fifth myth.
You're going to
Drop
end
it,
with
Jake.
one that holds near and dear to your heart. You say, my genetics are my destiny.
Yeah.
My genetics, you've heard that a lot. My genetics are my destiny.
So my mom
that.
had blood pressure problems, so I'm gonna have blood pressure problems. My dad had a stroke, so I'm more prone to have a stroke.
My
That
dad
is
had a heart
true.
attack.
Yep.
Heart disease.
And so now I'm worried about having that. My dad had Alzheimer's. My grandpa had Alzheimer's. Now I'm worried about that. Like,
And your grandpa did.
my grandpa did have Alzheimer's, so that was my personal example. So another one's like, I'm big boned. That's another one I hear all the time. It's I have bigger bones, and it's like, okay, yes, but now what do you do from that? There's that nature, which is that genetic aspect that God gave us, but then there's the nurture. What do we decide to do with that?
Yeah, it's such a fatalistic myth, you know?
Correct. And so, do you think God gave us
What I am.
no
My
hope
genetics
with
are
that?
my
Yeah,
No, and so we're actually learning the same thing with like neurons. They always thought once you have your brain cells and you kill them with drinking alcohol or taking drugs or whatever, they're gone.
They're gone.
It's like now we're realizing, oh, there's ways to regenerate brain cells. We're finding new things. Same thing with genetics. Yeah, you might have this gene that expresses this certain way, which means you have certain color eyes, certain strength of hair, right? Beautiful hair. Tim's over there.
Strength of hair.
Wow, he just ripped on this.
I almost missed that myself.
Over here looking at Tim like, oh,
Look at this. I'm with these two guys. and Look at his hair. Can you
KJ.
zoom in on the beauty?
Keep going, man. We got to move
No.
past that.
Is there a supplement, by the way? No, I've tried it all.
collagen. You never know.
Collagen, yeah, that's right.
But now, like with the brain cells, we're finding out epigenetics. What sits on top of the gene that can turn that light switch on and off? So yes, you might be more prone to having blood pressure problems, but what are you doing to change that? And what are you doing in the environment? What environment are you putting yourself in? Are you stressed? Are you eating the right foods to help your body take care of that problem? I believe, in my opinion, is that God gave us a system to take care of everything, whether it's your immune system to fight off infection, or whether it's to balance blood pressure. And blood pressure is the easy one to go to. So how do you decide to eat, live your lifestyle, not a diet, not a time frame, but the rest of your life, to turn off that gene, depending on if it's good or bad.
Man, dude, this has been so much fun. We could talk to you for a long time.
Yeah.
But
usually before it's been longer
we're
too,
in
so
our window right now.
We'll have you back for a fourth.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. And I hope that you have written down a lot of notes and that you're looking at your one thing that you're looking to change. And maybe it's going to buy that supplement. Maybe it's just saying, I need more veggies. I want to run some tests maybe to figure out what veggies really, and listen, I want to listen to my body more, right? So this is an awesome opportunity right now, this day. Who cares about COVID-19? We know the end of the story. Jesus coming right now for you to take responsibility, the Holy Spirit to give you the wisdom to take the right next step, to live a fully, this is what Jesus came to give, fullness of life.
Live your fullest every day.
Every day. Fullness of life is yours in Jesus. And this is not a shame-filled conversation. This is a hope-filled conversation for you. So set aside anything that's shame-filled and just say, man, I'm growing today. I'm learning new things today so that my body can accommodate the mission that God has sent me on.
Man, my final thoughts are, my genetics are not my destiny.
That's
so,
right, they are.
I got to just take this into existence and pray more. And also that if you're a leader out there of a church, normalize this conversation. There's people like KJ in your audience, especially young people that care about this, and everyone should care about it, but they can speak life into your congregation and help out. The third thing is that he's doing that for us locally at CG Cares. So it might go digital as well for people that are listening all around the country. But locally here at Christ Greenfield, you're going to be able to go to a class here starting probably in July or August to learn more for 4 to 6 weeks about health and wellness.
Karen is caring. Thanks for getting the word out. KJ Struz, we'll have you on again,
in the
baby.
house.
Thanks so much for joining us on Lead Time. We will see you very, very soon. Every Friday, man. Fresh episodes. Peace out. Later.
You have been listening to Lead Time with Tim and Jake. Please subscribe at cglchurch.org/leadtime. Thanks for listening. Tune in next Friday for another episode.